Lear and his three daughters, which appeared in quarto in 1608, and The Tragedy of King Lear, which appeared in the first folio in 1623, a more theatrical version. The two texts are commonly printed in a conflated version, although many modern editors have argued that each version has its individual integrity. Shakespeare's play is based on various accounts of the semi-legendary Lear, a king of the Britons, whose tale was first written down by the 20th century historian Geoffrey of Monmouth. One of Shakespeare's sources was an earlier play, King Lear. In this play, Cordelia and the King of France serve Lear, distinguished as rustics. However, the ancient folk tale of Lear has existed in many versions prior to that, and it's possible that Shakespeare was familiar with them. The name of Cordelia was probably taken from Edmund Spenser's The Fairy Tale, published in 1590. Spenser's Cordelia also dies from hanging, as in King Lear. The characters. King Lear is a ruler of Britain. He is a patriarchal figure whose misjudgment of his daughters brings upon his downfall. Goneril is Lear's treacherous eldest daughter and wife of the Duke of Albany. Regan is Lear's treacherous second daughter and wife to the Duke of Cornwall. Cordelia, the youngest daughter of Lear, at the beginning of the play is exiled. One of the suitors, the King of France, takes her, though without dowry. The Duke of Albany is Goneril's husband, and Duke of Cornwall is Regan's husband. The Earl of Gloucester is Edgar's father and the father of the illegitimate son Edmund. The Earl of Kent is always faithful to Lear, but he is banished by the king after he protests against Lear's treatment of Cordelia. He takes on a disguise, and serves the king without letting him know his true identity. Edmund is Gloucester's illegitimate son. He works with Goneril and Regan to further his ambitions, and the three of them form a romantic triangle. Edgar is the legitimate son of Earl of Gloucester, disguised as Tom o' Bedlam. He helps his blind father. At the end of the play, he assumes rule of the kingdom, and the divine right of kings is restored. Oswald is Goneril's servant and is described as a serviceable villain. He tries to murder Gloucester, but instead he is killed by Edgar. And above all of them is the fool, who is the jester, devoted to Lear and Cordelia, although his relationships with both are quite complex. Although he misses Cordelia when she's gone, we never see the two together. He has a privileged relationship with Lear. No one else would get away with taunting him the way the fool does, through riddles and insults. When Lear begins to consider the feeling of others and the effects of his actions, he first thinks to help the fool. The play begins with King Lear taking the decision to abdicate the throne and divide his kingdom among his three daughters, Goneril, Regan and Cordelia. The eldest two are married, while Cordelia is much sought after as a bride. Each daughter shall be accorded lands according to how much they demonstrate their love for him in speech. The plan misfires. Cordelia refuses to outdo the flattery of her elder sisters, as she feels it would not only cheapen her true feelings to flatter him purely for reward. The King of France takes her after she is banished. She becomes his wife and proceeds to her exile in France. Goneril and Regan turn hostile to the father. Cordelia returns in order to protect him. Goneril and Regan fight over Edmund. Goneril poisons Regan and stabs herself. Soon after Lear abdicates the throne, he becomes nobody, neither a father nor a king. The subplot involves the Earl of Gloucester and his two sons, the good Edgar and the evil Edmund. Edmund concocts false stories about his legitimate half-brother, and Edgar is forced into exile, affecting lunacy. Edmund engages in liaisons with Goneril and Regan, and Gloucester is blinded by Regan's husband. Gloucester is thrown into the storm. Edgar, still under disguise of a homeless lunatic, finds Gloucester out in the storm, and the Earl asks him whether he knows the way to Dover. They all proceed towards Dover, where they all meet. Lear appears on the scene, and they all come across the most crucial situation and the most crucial scene of the play, the storm scene. Edmund tells Edgar in the end of his order to have Lear and Cordelia murdered, and gives orders for them to be reprieved. Perhaps his one act of goodness in the entire play. Unfortunately, the reprieve comes too late. Lear appears on the stage with Cordelia's dead body in his arms, having killed the servant who hanged her, and then dies himself. Besides the subplot involving the Earl of Gloucester and his two sons, the principal innovation Shakespeare made to this story was the death of Cordelia and Lear at the end. During the 18th and 19th century, this tragic ending was much criticized, and alternative versions were written and performed, in which the leading characters survived and Edgar and Cordelia were married. Shakespeare's tragic conclusion gains its sting from such a discrepancy. The traditional legend and all adaptations preceding Shakespeare's have it that after Lear is restored to the throne, he remains there until made ripe for death. Cordelia, her sisters also deceased, take the throne as rightful heir, but after a few years is overthrown and imprisoned by nephews, leading to her suicide. In this lesson, an attempt has been made to introduce the student to the development of English drama as a genre in the Elizabethan period. This is known to be the golden period of the English drama. This was the time when, because of Queen Elizabeth's moderate and balanced approach towards her countrymen, England flourished in all the spheres. Art, of course, had its share of development, and the theatres became an active hub of recreation. Drama, as a result, was written and produced with a fervour. England saw the accomplished art in the form of drama, produced by outstanding dramatists. William Shakespeare, amongst them, stands high because of his prolific and versatile contribution to this genre. Shakespeare's literary canvas is vast. A creative writer with a great potential, he has mastered both poetry and drama with a great skill. His plays have been read and performed in all times and all countries with a constant enthusiasm. The objective of the lesson has been to place him in the literary tradition of England, as well as to study him as a universal personality who has crossed the barriers of time and place.